And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 16th day of August 2021. It's a day when we're having conversations around lots of things. We've just had a conversation about chess, the game that is played by the generals and is played by the kings. So, and now, let us move on to another matter, and let's talk about football, because so much has been happening over the weekend, the return of the European competitions, but there is a lot happening when it comes to the local scene. Think of the National Super League, think about the inter-club competitions at continental level, plus also the FKF Premier League and what the implications are for this league. To talk about that, we've got Gregory Mulemi, who's in studio with us, and our sign language interpreter is Susan Thuku. Gregory, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, Gregory, I'll start with the draw for the Caf inter-club competitions, where we've got the Caf Champions League. The draw was done on the 13th, and we saw Tusker FC, who were nominated by FKF by virtue of finishing top of the league on the 30th of June to represent the country in the Caf Champions League. They will be playing against Artasol of Djibouti. First of all, your reaction to that draw?
A tricky draw for Tusker. We know Arta of Djibouti, like 3 seasons ago, played against Kariobangi Sharks. It's not the same side that played Kariobangi Sharks because they revamped, brought in very, very experienced players who've traversed the world and seen it all, the likes of Lex Song, the likes of Patrice Kameni, Diafra Sako. So it's a good side, and when they come to face Tusker, you can feel that buzz, because this the kind of competition at least Tusker would have wanted to have, but then it came a little bit too early. These are a team that is rebuilding and another team that is back in the continental scene as Kenya's representatives to the Caf Champions League. So to me, it's a tricky fixture for Tusker, but all the same, whatever happens there, Tusker will pick very, very positive experiences from that fixture, if at all they don't make it through.
What's the whole story of, Arta Sola and some of their, interesting buys? People like Alex Song.
It's all about looking at the future and also marketing the Djiboutian league. Remember, Djibouti is not well ranked in the FIFA rankings. It's not well placed in the FIFA rankings because of the way the country has been performing. You remember us beating them 9-1 here some time back, and in the 2000s. Look at how they've been performing. They've not been the country where people go to for football. But apparently, there's someone who's just decided, let me just take the bull by the horns. And look at what is happening. They have now started exposing Djibouti's soccer to the continental scene, and who knows, maybe it's not Akina Song who will do it, who will make them go to another level, but then they'll help at least motivate the young boys from Djibouti to come up with a stronger outfit in the future.
Now, for Tusker FC going into this tie, I did get to listen to Robert Matano, and he says that the kind of momentum that they've picked after, he's decided that the momentum has to be picked, pick up and fill a few gaps here and there in the team to ensure that they're competitive. And he's going to take it one moment at a time, knowing very well the risk that would come with Artasol at the moment. What would be the story then?
It's a tricky situation for Matano. Remember, they were nominated to represent the country in the Caf Champions League, and by that, I believe they already knew what to expect. But what makes me start thinking that Tusker have a big task ahead is that you look at how they're doing their businesses right now. There's no time for pre-season. They're bringing in new blood. We are seeing them being linked with several players plying that trade inside here. The return of the likes of Matasi to Tusker. Then it shows you that Matano has a plan. But the problem is, will it work within that short period of time? Remember, the league is ending in the next 10 days. Then they have around 2 weeks to prepare for the next assignment. So it's quite tricky, and it's something that, if not well taken care of, it can backfire. But who knows? Matano is Matano. He's been there. He's been there with Leopards. He's been there with Ulinzi Stars. He's been there with Sofapaka, and right now he's there with Tusker.
And remember that these matches will be played on the 10th and the 12th of September. That is the first leg. And the return leg will be played on the 17th and 19th of September. So the winner of this tie will face Zamalek in the first round.
Zamalek new to Tusker?
I don't know.
No. They are not new to
I have
Tusker.
seen something happen here to Tusker.
Yes. Remember, was it Sami Sholei who scored that goal?
Yes.
Yes. So it's just different seasons, but the same teams. So I think history can repeat itself. Remember, we beat them 2-1 here. Yes, and that is something that can give them motivation that Zamalek is just any other team. Remember, Zamalek, they also had a few bad years before they revamped into a side that everyone is talking about in the continental scene. So to me, Zamalek is one team that, if at all it meets Tusker, then it depends with who settles first. Remember, they played also Gor Mahia a few years back, and Gor Mahia beat them. So it's not about the names anymore. The gap between these clubs has really shrunk.
Well, that is the CAF Interclub draw. That's for the Caf Champions League. And remember that the first round of this, whoever wins that tie between Tusker FC and Artasola will be playing against Zamalek, and that is in October. And also the draw for the CAF Confederation Cup. This is where Gor Mahia had become the masters, and Kenya started appreciating African football so deeply. Those Sunday nights and Wednesday evenings started to become something of a football phenomenon in the country. We all looked out to Gor Mahia when they played in, at the group stages of this competition. Gor Mahia will not play in the preliminary round after getting a bye. Mm-hmm. What advantage do they have, knowing at the moment they're 9th on the league table?
First of all, it gives them psych because they'll know that at least they'll have a longer period to prepare for the next assignment. And then you see Gor Mahia has been very consistent in the continental scene. They've racked in 8 points, and that makes them even better than most clubs that are there in Africa. But then, for God, they have a problem. Preparation is key. And how will they prepare for this tie? They have to make sure that they have a squad that is able to compete, a squad that is stable, a squad that has the motivation and everything else that will help them. And you look at Gor Mahia right now, so many things are happening there, despite all this, the hula balloons surrounding the payments and everything. Gor Mahia seems to be a side that is also on renaissance. It's rebuilding. Look at the kind of players they have right now. Just been seeing very negative news also coming out of the camp this morning. Tito Okello wants to leave the club because of the accrued payments, dues rather. Clifton Miheso has been linked with the move to Tusker, but then they signed a goalkeeper from Mali, I don't know, former Joliba player, 34 years old. I think they're trying to bring in experience, but then I asked myself, Boniface Oluoch is also experienced and is also in the Gor Mahia
side. He's not a spring
side.
Chicken anymore.
He's not a spring chicken anymore. He has continental experience with Gor Mahia. Remember the heroics against Zamalek at Kasarani. So Gor have so much to do, but then they have until October to do that.
Well, Gor Mahia, and that's in October, they will be playing against the winner of a tie between two sides, and it's a very interesting tie. Atla Bara of South Sudan against Al Ahly Meroe of Sudan.
A derby of the north and the south.
The south, yes.
The South Sudan side, Albatara, has a number of Kenyans playing that team. There is former Leopards keeper Lucas Indeche. There is Joseph Shikokoti, and okay, Michael Nam, who was the coach, resigned yesterday. So, but they have that Kenyan touch. So it will be very interesting to see how they perform against their former colleagues in the league. Remember, they used to play together in this wider Sudan before it separated.
All right, Gregory. Well, we'll be coming back to a conversation about football, and we'll be talking about the FKF Premier League and also the National Super League, the battle for promotion to the FKF Premier League. Quite interesting, I have got to say. But right now, what about talking about people who've made it sure that people who've said that disability is not inability. We have the Paralympic team that's going to represent Kenya. It's going to be what, 22 appearances since 1972. Kenya has been to the Paralympic Games, 72, and moving on to 84 and onwards. In Rio de Janeiro, Kenya did pick half a dozen medals. Can they do much better this year, including having a power lifter and a para rower? We have the team manager of the Kenya Paralympic team that is headed to Tokyo. His name is Stanley Mutuma. He's an advocate of the High Court. He works with people who are visually handicapped in sports. Stanley Mutuma is joining us on Zoom in just about a minute to get into that conversation. And for you, Gregory, as we speak right now and looking at the FKF Premier League, looking at the encounter of this, Adla Barra and Alakli Meroe coming to face Gor Mahia in October. It's not the easiest of ties that Gor would want to have, because after that you don't get into the group stage. What happens is you've got to meet the teams that fall out in the first round of the Champions League.
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult situation Gor are in, but then as I said, experience also plays major part, and Gor Mahia have the experience. Every season, the last 5, they've been participating in the continental scene, so it will give them a major boost. I watched them against NAPSA. They were at the lowest. Nobody expected Gor even to score a goal, but look at what happened. They managed to stretch NAPSA all the way, and it gives them hope that maybe they can use that experience to get past the Sudanese side.
Oh. All right. So, Gregory Mulemi, they're giving us his insight into the draws for the continental competitions that Gor Mahia will be participating in. Gor in the Caf Confederation Cup, Tusker FC in the Caf Champions League. It's going to be interesting from September and October, and also for the clubs that have got to get into the playoffs. November is going to be a critical month. Now, next. So next, a conversation about the Paralympics, and let's get details about this. The 26th edition of the Paralympics, they will be taking place in Tokyo, Japan. The games are scheduled to be held from the 24th of August to the 5th of September. And remember that KBC Channel 1, we shall be broadcasting the opening and closing ceremonies, and there will also be a daily highlights program. Kenya has got a contingent of 54 athletes and officials. You ask, why the large number? Well, there are the T11 and T13 categories. These are for the visually impaired athlete, and that means that they've got to go in pairs. Every athlete must have their guide with them. That's how they would run. So that means that if you've got 5 athletes, then it means it's a team of 10 and the coaching staff, and there is also the stewards. Kenya will be participating in its 22nd competition, and the initial participation was in the 1972 Paralympic Games. Kenya is represented in athletics, powerlifting, and para-rowing. So Asiya Mohammed is the sole para-rower of the team. Helen Huaweira is a lone powerlifter. At the last games, Kenya bagged 3 gold, a silver, and 2 bronze medals at the Rio de Janeiro Games. The most successful games, you have to go back to 2008. So that's the target that Kenya has set for themselves. A minimum of 3 gold, a silver, and 2 bronze medals at this year's Paralympic Games. Stanley Mutuma, just waiting for him to be set up. He's at the team's bubble camp. The rules of the Paralympic Games, similar to those of the Olympic Games. Any traveling team has got to be in a bubble camp as per the COVID protocols, and then the moment they leave the bubble camp, only then can they travel to Japan, and they've got to go through the PCR tests as they get into Tokyo to be allowed to compete. So Stanley Mutuma will be joining us in just a short while. Now, Gregory, let me continue with our conversation around football and the FKF Premier League. And let me first talk about the bottom of the table. Mathare United, they were having a renaissance in Franco Guna, but suddenly they got hit for 3 by Bandari over the weekend. What's the impact on that, on this club that's been struggling to survive in the FKF Premier League?
First of all, I didn't expect Bandari to get such a beating because Mathare United rather, because they had a very good run going to Mombasa. But we know Bandari has been the team to watch in the second leg of the Premier League because They started badly. Kasambungo hadn't really gotten a grasp of the team, but he later on established what he really wanted, and you can see they've been picking results, including a very impressive win away at Kakamega Homeboys, and then beating Ulinzi Stars home and away. So Bandari is a team that nobody can take them as pushovers. If it continues this way, who knows what might happen next season. But then for Madara United, they needed only 5 points to survive. Right now, they have to fight to the last game because they have 2 matches to go. Very, very tricky situation for them, because Vihiga United, they beat KCB 2-1 in the last encounter. And then Western Steamer, I'm not sure about them, to be honest, because they've been on a downward trend ever since beating FC Leopards. They've not won a single match, so it's very, very difficult for them. For Madara United, my instincts tell me that they can't survive, because you look at the remaining fixtures, they don't seem to be having very, very tough fixtures heading to the home stretch. But for Vihiga United, they must pull something very, very, very dramatic towards the end. But you look at that table right now, it's 20, 24, 21 and 21. I think it's very, very tricky for these teams right now, because you slip a little bit. Right now you lose another match, you're out, definitely.
Now let's now take a look at the top, where KCB and Tusker FC are actually in a real battle to find out who's going to be declared the real champion and can lift the new trophy, the trophy that was unveiled.
The Moran Trophy.
The Moran Trophy with the Big Five and all that. Where is this battle going to come to? Because it's just 3 points at the top.
3 points at the top, and you look at the permutations now, they favor Tusker. Tusker are really, really a side that they should have taken this long time ago, but then they slipped, losing back-to-back matches against City Stars and I'm just forgetting the other team. But then you look at KCB, everyone expected them to beat Vihiga United last time out, which they didn't, and it really, really made the favors go towards Tusker. So looking at how they'll be the league will go, I think Tusker have an edge. Look at how they positioned themselves. Now that they're 3 points clear of KCB, level on the same number of games. So if they win their next assignment, I think it's against Sofapaka, and then KCB drops the points, then I think Tusker will as well be declared the first winners of the FKF Premier League. Yeah.
And now, some clubs that I would like to mention about, so much hype was there around them. Wazito FC is one, and also AFC Leopards. Which way for these two clubs now?
For Wazito, honestly, I can't always say, I can't tell where the problem is, because they got the best preparations. They have one of the best coaches in the country. They've always been hyped to be, or the team to watch when the season begins, and you look at how they've been performing, it's very, very underwhelming. And to me, I'm not surprised where they are, because hype is not playing football. But then for AFC Leopards, they should either choose between looking for money and stabilizing the team, or continuing the normal politics that is always there. And I think this is what is affecting the team greatly. You look at half of the team, the contracts are expiring. No one has bothered to renew the contract. The players are out there. Some of them are going for free. What do you do? How do you salvage that? It means that you are going back to square one where you were. So unless they start arresting such situations right now, I don't think they'll even have a stable team next season. Yeah.
So here it is. That's the FKF Premier League, and definitely it's going to come to a close, and teams are going to go down. And when teams do go down, it really becomes tough for the others that want to come up. And they are playing in the National Super League. So far, your assessment of the second-tier competition in men's football in the country?
Very competitive. Talanta has been stable for a while, and you can see the fruits of stability, keeping the playing unit together, and an experienced manager. We've been talking about Ken Kenyatta as a manager who likes almost getting teams into promotion and then
holds
back. Right now it's like he's full throttle. He wants to go out. Right now they're top with 67 points, and look at how they've been playing. If you watch Talanta play this season, he took some of the players he had at his former side, Ushuru, and then brought them to Talanta, then mixed them up with the current team. They are really performing very well. Fortune Sacco to me is the surprise package. Look at how they've been playing, despite getting the walkover against Migori Youth the other day. It was I expected them to win anyway, because they're also chasing that promotion slot.
Well, we'll be getting back into a conversation about football, but right now, why don't we get into a Zoom conversation with Stanley Mutuma, who is the team manager of Kenya's Paralympic team that's headed to Tokyo. And Stanley, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Wahome. Good morning, viewers.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and just apologies for that delay. First of all, you could tell us, but let me just reintroduce Stanley. Stanley is the team manager of the Paralympic team to the Tokyo, that's headed to Tokyo. One batch of athletes left on Friday. That's the way it's been staggered, the same way the Olympic Games worked. And for Mutuma, he is an advocate of the High Court, and he's also involved in sport with persons who are visually impaired. And if you look at the Paralympic Games, it's T11, T13. That's where you'd find that group of athletes. So Stanley, first of all, you could tell us about, so far the preparations, especially for the athletic side, from the visually impaired, the T11, T12, T13 team that will be headed to Tokyo.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Home. Just like you have mentioned in your introduction, the Paralympic team is usually a sport that is played by athletes or persons who have some sort of disability or challenge, if I may say. And there are different kinds of sport categories, just like in the able-bodied sports. For example, you have athletics, field events, you have swimming, you have cycling, rowing, and all these kind of sports. So just like Kenya, we are really powerful or talented in the athletics field, in the athletics arena. So the bulk of our team is comprised of athletics. That is the T11 athletes who are visually impaired, and we have also T46. That is athletes who have an amputee, either of the arm or something like that. So the preparations, you asked about the preparations. We are currently at a bubble camp at the Utali Hotel, which is a very nice facility, courtesy of the Ministry of Sports. So we really thank our government through the Ministry of Sports, the Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, and the PS in charge of that particular docket. We also thank our Paralympic leadership through Madam Agnes Oloch and the rest of the KNPC leadership. So the team has been here since the 15th of June, which is about 2.5 months now. And the preparation is in top gear. We have 2 sessions of preparations every day. There's the morning run at Karura Forest to expand the lungs of the athletes and get them fresh air. And then later in the day, at around 11 or in the evening, they usually go for their speed work at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. So preparations are in top gear and athletes are really in top shape. So we are expecting medals from them. And I can assure the viewers and yourself, Wahome, that we are very much upbeat and gearing up to go to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
Stanley, now you could take us to, first of all, before we move to the
T11 and which is for the visually impaired athletes. Tell us about the T46 athletes, the athletes who've got an amputation of one form or another, and their events, then how they have been preparing, knowing that we've seen them participate at the IPC Grand Prix events in Tunisia, in Dubai. I think it was a Faza Grand Prix, and also in Morocco.
Come again, Wahome. I think the sound was a little bit poor.
Okay.
You asked about the preparation of the...
about the T46 athletes.
Or the T46 athletes.
Yes.
Yeah, this T46 athlete goes by the name Felix Kiprop, and this athlete with an either a short arm or an amputated arm, and they compete in their category. So this is the T46 categories. we distinguish them from the numbers. For example, the T46, T47, T48 are athletes with amputees. But the T11s are now the visually, T11, T12, T13 are the visually impaired athletes. This kind of classification is aimed at fair play, because as you are aware, or the viewers may be aware, sports is all about fair play, fair competition, so that we don't have an athlete who has an undue advantage over the other one.
So for Felix, how has the build-up been for him, and as he heads into Tokyo, what's the kind of competition that he faces in his event?
The kind of competition they'll be doing is the middle and long distance. So we have a number of them doing the 1500 meters, that's the 1500 meters, and others doing the 5000 meters. So these are really our strongholds, and we are really competent, and we are confident that we are going to achieve medals in these areas.
One of the things that a lot of people see, and we saw this especially when Henry Huaweira came to the fore 17 years ago in Athens and moving on to Beijing, was the role of the guide. And Henry Huaweira doing a full marathon with Kibunja, and turns out that probably Kibunja is Kenya's best marathoner who never went to the highest competition levels. How have you been preparing the guides of the T11 athletes?
Yeah, very wonderful question. As your viewers may be aware, or just to enlighten us and the Kenyans, the T11 usually, and T11 and T12, those ones who can see slightly, they usually have a guide runner. So they have tethered to the arm with a guide runner. And the way it happens is that the speed of the guide must match that of the athlete, so that the guide may not appear in front to appear as if he's pulling the athlete. So the guides have been training together with their athletes, because you must run together, same pace, and the communication must be very good. Because as you may be aware, or you can imagine, this is a competition, the temperature is high, the pressure is there. So you must really have blended and bonded with your guide, for example, so that that communication, if it tells you it's time to kick, to lap, and all that. So they have been together for quite a while, since I believe most of them maybe 4 years, 5 years, and all these qualifier championships, they have been going together. They've been together at the camp. Mm-hmm. So I believe that team spirit is really there, and they have really, really bonded with their athletes. And just to take you back a little bit, yes, just like Henry Huaweira matched so well with Kibunja, and he broke the world record in the 2004 Athens Paralympic Games. So you can see this is something that we are keen on developing, and even getting more and more athletes coming into the competition.
So now also for the Paralympic Games, we've got Helen Huaweira. She's the lone power lifter in the up to 41 kilogram division. And for Huaweira, she was nominated into the event, and she's also had a very high ranking. How has her practice and progress been, knowing very well that the chef, the head of the delegation, is also from the powerlifting team?
Yes, very good point. And Madam Huaweira is a lovely girl who is taking part in the powerlifting, and this is good even for issues of gender, because we also want more and more women and ladies into sports. Huaweira is ranked number 1 in Africa, and I believe 2nd in the world. So she got the bipartite application, and she's prepared. She's in upbeat mood, and she's very, very confident, and we're giving her the support. We have a full-fledged gym here at the Utalii, and we have the coach and the powerlifting manager. So we are really happy to say that she's comfortable. She has a training partner, Joyce Huaweira, who is assisting her, as a sparring partner, and they are residing together. So up to that extent, I believe this is a good thing, because apart from the athletics, we are now diversifying our sports. We have the powerlifting, we have the rowing, which we'll come to a little bit later, para rowing through Madam Asia, and other sports that, although this time they didn't manage to get through, like the paracycling. We believe in the coming days or in the coming years, we shall be able to enter multidisciplinary sports, which is a good thing because we want persons with disability or para-athletes to explore their talent and to engage in them meaningfully, So up to that extent, we are really happy to have Ms. Huaweira with us.
Yes, we're in conversation with Stanley Mutuma, who is the team manager of the Paralympic team that's going to represent the country at the Games in Tokyo. And the Games, they will be starting on the 24th of August and running till the 5th of September. And Kenya has got a delegation of 54. You've had Stanley mention about Asia Mohammed, who is the sole para-rower. Asia Mohammed's story is quite touching. She suffered an accident, a train accident in Ganjoni, Mombasa, but after losing her legs and 3 of her fingers, she said still she's got to compete. And here and we've got this para-rower in that team. For the story of Asia Mohammed is an inspiration to many, Stanley. All right, Stanley?
Yes, hope I come again.
Yes, we're talking about the story of Asia Mohammed, from that after getting injured in a train accident, at a train accident when she was young, and now into para-rowing. And it's one of the inspiring stories from Kenya's Paralympic team.
Absolutely. Just like you mentioned, you see, this is a unique story where somebody who is fully able gets an accident, which of course is unfortunate, but it's part of life. But the accident does not keep her down. She gets rehabilitated, gets into sport. As you are aware, sport is one of the ways of rehabilitating and getting somebody back to normal life. And she was able to get prosthetics and be introduced in the sports world, where she's participating in para-rowing. She also does some other sports like the wheelchair tennis. And like you see now, she has really taken the sports of rowing up in the country, even reaching to the levels of making the qualifiers for Olympics and Paralympics. So this is a very, very unique and inspiring story. And I would like to call upon all other parents and the guardians and even people who feel they have a talent, who have this passion, to try and join in the club or contact the Paralympics. And you never know, we could have more Asia Mohammeds coming into the picture, which in fact will be our joy,
Well, when you talk about Asia Mohammed and her preparation, she's the one lone athlete who's had to train in Mombasa, so because of the a water body where she can practice her rowing. How has her program been so far, and how have you been monitoring her progress?
Yes, she has been training in Mombasa because that's where we have the facility. She also had a sparring partner, a guy by the name of Mosetti, and they have been training together since the end of June. And at the Water Sports Club, we have been following, and some of our officers, like the Madam Chair Lady Agnes and the Chef de Mission, Dennis Omondi, and also the para-rowing manager, Mr. Bernard Ongondo. From time to time, we're traveling to Mombasa to ensure that she is well catered for. Also, I'd like to add that we received a donation of a boat from China that she's going to use at the competition, which is a standard equipment, and we are very thankful for that and for the ministry for facilitating the freight of the boat to Kenya. And I believe this boat will be here in good time to have it shipped to Tokyo, Japan, where Asia can then compete favorably with the standard equipment with the rest of our competitors. But I'd like to comment that now she has joined us because, as you have mentioned, we'll be leaving from the 21st, which is this Saturday, to proceed to Tokyo for the games. So now all the team is here. All the 16 athletes are here with us at Utali. And of course, we are taking close measures to ensure that all of us proceed to Tokyo without many hitches or instances of COVID.
Now, and I want to touch one more thing on Asiya Mohammed. You've mentioned about the new boat that she's received from China. What's her reaction to getting a new boat, and how ready is she to adapt to the standard competition equipment, which may be lighter and could work in her favor at the Paralympic Games the moment she goes for the sculls and all those other events?
Equipment sports, for example, rowing, para-rowing, or cycling, the 8 para or the normal cycling, or motor rallying. These are what we call equipment sports. And the kind of equipment that an athlete has, will really, really play a big role in determining the levels of competition or the quality of competition. So definitely now having a modern boat, which is a very standardized equipment, I believe the latest equipment has really boosted her morale, because she knows that she'll be competing in a standard equipment, which will now put her favorably with the rest of the team. And even once we finish with the competition there, the boat will be shipped back so that she can use together with the other teammates. And I believe this one will really, really improve the quality and the standard of the game locally.
Now, let's now talk about the playbook for the Paralympic Games. We saw the one from the IOC and also works with the Paralympic game, work at the Olympics. We saw what it really meant. We saw the Kenya Lionesses having to, not train together because one set of players were in a flight with somebody who was coronavirus positive. What's the travel arrangement to ensure that, you may not have a risk of, say, an athlete and a guide being separated on arrival in Japan?
Yes, it's true, Wahome. I'm sure people take judicial notice, or people are cognizant that since March last year, the world has really changed. With the onset of the coronavirus, people have to change the way they do their things in all spheres of life, whether be it work, sports, and so on and so forth. So even this competition, which is a global competition, there have been many adjustments that have to be made that were not there in the previous games. For instance, we mentioned about the playbook. We have sensitized the athletes about the playbook. I've explained to them about the stringent measures being taken to combat or to prevent the issue of COVID. And I'm very much aware of that situation, the unfortunate situation that happened with our Lionesses. So what we have done, we have separated the team to travel in small batches. Just like you mentioned, the first team, the advanced team, which it comprises of the administrators, left on Friday. That was then the 13th. And the rest of the team will start to move or to fly to Japan from the 21st. A team of around 10 people will go. That is a few players plus a manager or an administrator. On the 22nd, a few will go. 23rd, 24th, and the last team will leave you on the 25th. So I'll be among the last team on the 25th, having ensured that everything has been taken care of, and we have closed all our, we are obviously here ensuring that all logistics have been handled, everything has been taken care of in terms of clearing from the all the logistics have to be handled. So those are the measures we are taking, and of course provided bottles of sanitizers and several boxes of face masks to our athletes, and the arrangements that we have at the Italy Hotel. We are not receiving any guests or allow team delegates out of the hotel. Just want to ensure that we have a clean, sanitized bubble environment in which the athletes can participate. And we are happy that so far, so good. We pray that we will just see this to the end of the remaining days so that we can have a successful trip in Tokyo.
Now, when it comes to the medal count, Kenyans always want to know about the medals, They only want to know two things: that you've received your uniform, your allowances, and then how many medals you will bring. 3 gold, a silver, and 2 bronze medals.
And question in the minds of Kenyans, I can report that the team has been fully kitted. Just with the fully kitted, for example, this jacket I'm wearing.
Yes.
Or the team has received 3 pairs of suits. They are also going to receive extra pair of a tracksuit and 3 t-shirts, each 4 t-shirts, making 4 t-shirts. They have their running shoes. They have the nice, wonderful Nike sport shoes, casual shoes. So in terms of kitting, they have been well kitted. They have been receiving their local allowances. And as of today and tomorrow, they shall start to receive their international allowances. So that one is a check. And again, like I say, we thank the administrators and the ministry. This time, things have run very smoothly without major issues or hitches. And then now to the most pertinent question of medals. We want to challenge the main team, the NOC team. Of course, first of all, I want to congratulate them for their achievement. You know, they were number 1 in Africa and number 19 in the world, which is a major achievement, bearing in mind that we are competing in Africa, for example, with richer nations like South Africa, Northern African countries, Nigeria maybe. But we managed to beat them, even our rivals, Ethiopia. And out of that contingent, we got 10 medals. 4 gold, 4 silver, 2 bronze. So we want to promise Kenyans that despite our Paralympic team being fewer in number, like I mentioned, having 16 athletes, we want to tell Kenyans that we shall want to rival and challenge in a good way our now competitors and bring home at least same number of medals, if not more. So that is a challenge we have given our athletes, and they are very ready and prepared to challenge our competitors, our compatriots rather.
All right, now, last question is that we saw from Tokyo that once you are done with your competition, in 48 hours, you've got to leave Japan and leave the Olympic Village, be on the next flight to another destination. Could be China, could be Indonesia, could be Australia, but basically on your way home. What's the plan for the travel back to Kenya for the Paralympic team?
Yes, our technical team has been hard at that, and have made proper schedules, itineraries to ensure that once an athlete finishes his event, 48 hours, then within 48 hours, as per the law and the regulations, they should be flying back home. The arrangements we have done is that, for instance, if they can't get a flight within that time, then we have secured a nice hotel room, some hotel rooms we have reserved just within the Tokyo area, such that then the athlete can come out of the village, hold up in this hotel for a day or two.
Looks like we've lost
the next
Stanley
flight.
Mutuma,
So these arrangements
who is
have been made,
the team
and the
manager of the Paralympic team, but he's given us lots of details and a lot of information about the preparation for the team. Well, dropped as he was just talking about the team getting back, which means that they've made arrangements. Given the playbook says that once you're done with the competition, within 48 hours, you've got to leave the Olympic Village. So there is a hotel where the athletes then can board before they get onto a flight back home from Japan. Stanley Mutuma, he is an advocate of the High Court. He is the team manager of the Paralympic team that has got 16 athletes and 14 in athletics. You've got 1 in powerlifting and 1 in para rowing. So they will all be competing and they'll be leaving at the end of this week. He is also involved in sport for the visually impaired. Stanley Mutuma, thank you very much for your time this morning. He joined us from the Team Kenya Bubble Camp in Nairobi. We'll be getting into another conversation about tennis in just a short while, and also complete our conversation about football. And because we still have got Gregory Mulemi here with us in studio. So Gregory, overall for the Paralympic team, before we get into that conversation about football and everything, and that, can we see a better performance than from Rio de Janeiro, where we got 6 medals, 3 gold, a silver, and 2 bronze?
It's tricky because you look at the preparations we've had. Yes, the Paralympians are facing also a difficult time, but then I expect maybe 2 gold, yes, and a silver and maybe a bronze.
So the medals will come?
Yeah, medals will come definitely, but not as in Rio.
All right. Yeah, Gregory Mulemi, our regular football pundit, he's here speaking with us. Football and Mogo, yes. Yes, we also will be talking football, and also a conversation about tennis is coming up, and the national team landed this morning from Cairo, Egypt. They were at the Smash Tennis Academy, and they were participating in the Davies Cup Africa Group 3 tournament. It was played last week, and Kenya lost 2-1 in the playoff to Benin. Had they won the playoff, they would be getting now to another playoff to enter the World Group 2. It's a progression of this new tournament, and in the round robin phase, Kenya only dropped 1 match, and that was against one rubber against Mozambique. It means Kenya will play in Group 3 for another year, and we shall be speaking with the non-playing captain and also the coach of Kenya's Davis Cup team. His name is Francis Rogoi. In just a short while, Francis, you online? All right. In thought, Francis, a good morning to you.
How are you, Ahmed?
Okay. While we wait for Francis to... Okay. So, Francis, a good morning to you. Okay, so Francis, first of all, you could tell us about, the experience of the national team at the Smash Tennis Academy, where you are playing in the Davis Cup Africa Group 3 tournament, and that was for 3 days, starting Wednesday through to Saturday. Okay, Francis, can you...
Your question, Ahmed.
All right. Looks like there is a freeze on the network that Francis has. Once he is ready, we shall be getting back into conversation with him. Gregory, let's now move to a conversation about football. We were speaking about the National Super League and so much excitement here when it comes to going up. You mentioned about Talanta FC and Coach Ken Kenyatta. He's done some great work. And the question is, was a riot act read out to him? Because he mentioned earlier that he's got this thing of, when Ushuru FC was just about to get promoted, just about, then suddenly they finish 5th and they're nowhere in the playoffs.
Yes, and I think time caught up with him because Ushuru finally, when things didn't go according to what Kenyatta had been planning for all these seasons, then they had to look for a plan B. They disbanded the team, and right now he went to a place whereby they demanded results. Talanta is affiliated to Moscow.
Yes, the Ministry of Sports.
The Ministry of Sports. That means that all they want is to see their team at the top. Talanta is one of the best funded teams in the league, by the way. Close to 60 million shillings in sponsorship annually. They have one of the best buses in the country. Forget the Wazito bus. They train at the best facility, that is the Kasarani Stadium. So what else do they want? They want results. They want to be at the top. They want to expose themselves. Remember, the government had a project in the National Youth Talent Academy, which failed terribly. So they had to seek for another plan, and Talanta is now doing them great, top of the NSL table. But then from the excitement comes also other questions that cropped up last week. Migori Youth, a team that has been participating in the National Super League for the last 3 seasons, asking the Football Kenya Federation to reconsider how they are running the calendar.
I'll be coming to that in just a short while. So Talanta at the moment, 33 matches played, 64 points. just behind them, Fortune Sacco, 58 points from 33 matches. Are those the two that could go up automatically?
Kenya Police is also coming up well. Remember, Kenya Police has a new coach, that is John Bobby Ogolla, who is one of the best coaches, veteran coaches we have in the country. So he came up, he came into the team when they were not really at their best. They were drawing a lot of matches. Remember, Kenya Police had a very, very good first leg before drawing around 8 matches on a trot. So those are the results that made them at least fall off the patch. And look at the results they've been posting right now, a couple of wins and a draw. They are also in the mix. Fortune Sacco, I know the walkover over Migori Youth gave them a little bit of a boost towards their promotion ambitions. But then Kenya Police don't write them off. But for Talanta, see them next season in the FKF Premier League.
Now, and we also have got Kibera Black Stars, 33 matches, 52 points, and Vihiga Bullets, 30 matches, 50 points. And with 3 matches in hand, if they were to pick this, Vihiga Bullets would be second placed on the table.
And remember, Vihiga Bullets beat, was it Kenya Police? Or
yes.
Yes. That is a match that was that defined their moment. They knew that they still have a chance of maybe scrapping through the playoff positions. And you look at how things are turning out to be. The Western region needs a team in the FKF Premier League next season.
They've got Nzoia.
Nzoia is from the other side. I'm talking about the closer.
Kisumu?
Yeah.
Play somewhere close.
Kisumu.
So I mean, Nzoia people will not be very happy about that.
I'm sorry, I always associate Nzoia to Kitale.
They are from Bungoma County and they play at the Sudi Stadium. Well, let's see if Francis is ready to join us again, and we can have a conversation around the Kenya Davies Cup team that just landed this morning from Egypt. Well, Mogo tells me that it's dropped. So straight back.
Yes.
So Vihiga Bullets.
Bullets.
So we'll have Vihiga United. At the moment, they defeated KCB 2-1.
Yes.
Giving them so
they gave them a little bit of hope, but then you look at how things are right now. Vihiga United and Western Steamer are destined for Labda NSL because
NSL.
Look at how they've been performing in the last 3 matches. Not really convincing.
So Vihiga Bullets in this case, how much of a chance do they have?
I can say they have a 40% chance of making it to the playoff because most of the matches they played at home, they've really been doing well, picking those points, and that's all you need. We have like 10 rounds of matches to go, right? Around 10 or 11. So anything that happens in between there, they know that they have a chance.
All right. So we'll be getting back into that conversation around football, and let's see if we've got Francis on the line. Francis, a good morning to you, and welcome back home, Francis. Francis, good morning.
Good morning, Wahame.
Well, and first of all, you could tell us about your experience out at the Smash Tennis Academy, where you are playing in the Davis Cup Africa Group 3. Tell us, about the entire playing against Benin, Rwanda, Mozambique, and Ghana. All right, looks like
we had a great pool of matches in Smash. And just to begin with, we started up with our neighbors Rwanda, and then Mozambique and Ghana. There is no match which is easy at the Davis Cup. So just to round up, all the matches were really tough.
Okay, so Dhuku, tell us now, Benin, when you played with them in the first rubber, you did get that win, Ishmael Changawa winning it against Delmas Ncha. But then when it came to Ibrahim playing against Alexis Klegu had the edge over him, straight over him in that match. And then come the doubles rubber. Where did Benin get to win this and progress to the World Group 2 playoffs? All right.
Benin able to clinch the title. We had a 1-1 draw, and in the doubles, we lost our serve in each set. And through this, actually, this is how we conceded to Benin, that if we had held our serves, our 2 serves of each set, we would have been able to clinch the title easily.
Now, looking forward, now with the kind of players that we've seen Albert Njogu rise and join Ibrahim Kibet, joining Ishmael Changawa, and turning out to be now the kind of crop of players that we've got. What's the plan next for you as the coach of the team, and also who was the non-playing captain of this side that represented Kenya in Egypt?
I think moving forward, first of all, Tennis Kenya has done a good job. The government of Kenya giving great support financially, and then moving forward, I would strongly recommend that probably in future to open up a bigger calendar of events just before the event. Unlike probably this time where the time was minimal for the preparations, and I'm sure we should be able to get back on. But all in all, the players gave their best efforts, their best commitments, and with the support of the support staff, we even had the president of the federation with us. Everyone gave their best.
So, Francis, now let's take a look at some of the stand-up players. What would you say about Ishmael Changawa, who, I mean, apart from the doubles, he took every rubber that he played in. Then you've got Ibrahim Kibet here. Ibrahim Kibet and Ishmael Changawa have long been considered to be fraternal twins in the sport. Where you find one, you find the other. And Albert Njogu joining the fray.
I think we have a great pool of players. Ishmael Changawa did not lose a match at the Smash. So he played one against Rwanda. He played another each of the countries that we played. He won each of the matches. We have Njogu, who won one and lost one. Then we have Kibet, who also gave his best out there, and he was not able to actually get hold of Klegu. And this match actually was also very difficult here at Nairobi, the last one. So they were able to finish that without sorry about the sound.
So finally, and one last question for you, Francis. What opportunities are there now for the national team players to get into competition? We know 2020, everything changed. This is when this, was supposed to happen. What are the opportunities, for them? Competitions, things like the Kenya Open, the Rwanda Open, the Malawi Open?
Yes, Mohammed, thanks for the question. I think this is probably what I would say that has been a shortcoming, and unfortunately, sorry for the whole communication. I couldn't get your sound. Probably I had to even put the TV on to be able to listen to that. Yeah. But pardon me. But moving forward, there's so many opportunities out there for the players. I think most importantly, the players need financial support to be able to actually get there, because like we all know, we have air tickets and accommodation, which takes the biggest budgets. So the competitions are there. For example, in this event, we had about 8 weeks of futures. They're called futures in Cairo, and they could have been able to at least participate in 2 or 3 before the event. Ideally, I would suggest that actually each month, in intervals, the whole calendar year, they can be able to train a month and go to schedules, tournament schedules, the next month.
And also, what would be the biggest takeout that you've seen from the Smash Tennis Academy event at the Africa Group 3, and looking at who could be coming down now and becomes the competition?
It's a tough call, because Davis Cup as a team competition, it's very difficult to tell who will win, who will lose. I'll tell you for free that the Smash came out big, and they gave great matches. There were big surprises that nobody expected, so it could go either way. So we're staying in Group 3, and we'll be waiting for who will come down, because Egypt and Benin will go to play playoffs, and the playoffs, they'll play against teams that are coming down from Group 2, and then whoever wins now will come back to Group 3, and we square it out for next year.
All right, and finally, one of the encouraging messages I saw over the weekend was Paul Wekesa, Ino Polo, Asif Karim, I think Alan Cooper, all sending out messages to the young players. What is the impact that was left by the messages from these Kenyan players who actually played at the Davis Cup, and this is at the highest level?
Yeah, most of them are my very good buddies, and to get messages of encouragements like this, including Captain Rosemary, who was not able to join them this time. She was in another assignment. It's a great encouragement for the team, and the team took it positive that everybody is behind them and everybody is wishing them to do very well. So this also, at some point, definitely it will create the pressure to want to perform at the best, and this is actually what players want at this level, because they need to keep up with the pressure.
Thank you very much, Francis Rogoi. He is he was non-playing captain and also the coach of the Davis Cup team. They were at the Smash Tennis Academy in Egypt for the Africa Group 3. This is the Davis Cup. It's basically the World Cup of tennis. It's now known as a Gerard Piqué Cup for reasons that, he's just come together and given it a sponsorship and a new format at the highest level. Thank you very much, Francis. We'll catch up together with the team and get more insights about playing at the World Cup of tennis in the 3rd division for Africa. Oh, and we've got just about 3 or so minutes to close the program here. And Gregory, there's one thing I want to ask, and this is about the story at the bottom of the National Super League. We've seen clubs, trying to stay up in that division, while others are knocking from, the 3rd tier of Kenyan football. Who could go down from the National Super League?
There's a case pending, that is the Kisumu Hot Stars case pending. So United have not really been performing very well. Coast Steamer, not really their season. I think the withdrawal of sponsorship has also made them. But I think, pending the case of Hot Stars, who presumably have been relegated, I think either Coast Steamer or so United will be going down. But then you look at Division 1, Naivas is coming up very well, and I think them and Equity might be fighting for that promotion slot from the FKF Division 1.
All right, tomorrow we've got the Africa Cup of Nations drawing Yaoundé. Basically, only Cameroon and Algeria are guaranteed in being in Port 1. Are we going to see a proper revolution in African football, given that after seeing it expanded from 16 teams to 24 teams?
First of all, I'm really devastated that we are not part of the teams that will be
we'll be watching on television.
Yeah, we'll be watching the television after the 2019 escapades. But to me, I believe it's trying to expand the opportunities, and we'll see players try to showcase their case. But there are no big margins right now in African football. All countries are almost the same levels. But for Senegal and Algeria, I think everyone else has what it takes.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say
that average football
in Africa will continue.
This is a home of African football. We'll have the draw tomorrow, and you will get to know who faces who when that tournament that's going to be played from the 9th of January to the 6th of February 2022 in 6 venues across Cameroon. Well, time for me to leave. Up next, Kurunzi ya Mashinani and Ben Chumba is going to be taking you through that bulletin, and after that we shall have our interview segment, Tamrini. My name is Daniel Wahome, and on behalf of the team that put this together, and to our guests today who joined us here in studio, gave us a lesson on chess and also conversation about the Paralympics and tennis, and Gregory, who's now leaving the studio, I want to say thank you very much. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. I'm out.